It is important that you stay seated when we sail under the bridges, that you have your arms inside the boat and that you do not touch the bridges. In the back of the boat, you have a life jacket and it is not permitted to smoke or vibe on the boat. Have a wonderful trip here and welcome to Copenhagen. This is magnificent, you guys. We never have weather like this, so enjoy it.
All right, more from our side. So hello and welcome on the boat as well. So from my side, so some of you know me. I'm the guy for the group 37. For those who don't, my name is Robert, and I'll be guiding you on this boat as well. So we have a bridge coming. So please stay seated right now. And right behind this bridge, on the left side, you have the so-called Copenhagen, or the Island Church. The Island Church was built by Christian IV. I've mentioned its micro as well. And it used to be the church for the Royal Navy, for the Royal Marina. It was also the favorite church of the former Queen Margaret, who abdicated in last January. So here where she had her wedding, where she baptized her both sons, it was Joachim and the current King Frederick X. And on the right side, you have part of the more murky and tragic recent history of Copenhagen. Here is what you can also see on the photograph here on the tent. Here used to be the Börsen, or the stock exchange building, also built by Christian IV. It tragically burned last year in April, so that's why you see it under the tent. It's under reconstruction. It used to be under reconstruction as well when the fire broke out here. On the whole island that you see on the right side, that used to be the only building that did not burn throughout the centuries. Only last year it burned down half of it. And we have another bridge coming, so please mind your heads and stay seated. Here on our left side, you have the building of the National Bank. The National Bank, which is, as you see, constructed in a very, very simplistic way, kind of brutalistic type of architecture. And you see a very small door here on the left-hand side. The small door is the only entrance and the main entrance into the National Bank of Denmark. Why is that so? It was designed so that it should resemble a treasure, so safety box in a bank. So this is the only entrance to the National Bank of Denmark. Also, you probably know we have the currency, Danish kroner, Danish pounds. These are not produced in Denmark anymore because of the costs. These are produced in Finland and then transported to Denmark. We have another bridge coming, so please be careful and stay seated. On the right side, you have the kayak bar. It's a very, very favorite and popular place to hang out in the summer. Here you can rent out kayaks or have some drink. You also see a lot of these green kayaks. These green kayaks are the kayaks that you can basically drive for free. The only condition is that you are supposed to collect the trash from the canal. You are not obliged to do that, so nobody controls you, but you can do that and you're sort of supposed to do that. Here on the right side, you see this white, formerly warehouse building that when you see it from this side, you see that it's decorated. It has some windows, kind of nice design decorations. However, when we pass it, you'll be able to see it from behind. There is literally nothing on the building. Why is that so? Before Christian's part that you've seen from the boat, there was the so-called Copenhagen Castle, and King Christian IV was designing this whole area on the right side of the Christianshavn. Wanted to have a nice view on the Christianshavn. So he wanted this building and some others at the time to have a nice decoration from the parts of the city that he saw from the royal palace, and he didn't really care about that part. So, and he did the whole side. An interesting building is coming also on the left-hand side. So you know that right now we have the Øresund Bridge that connects the countries of Sweden and Denmark. Before the Øresund Bridge was built between the cities of Malmö in Sweden and Copenhagen here in Denmark, like to see flags of Iceland, Denmark. There are temporary exhibitions here of artists and painters, mostly painters from these regions. And on the left-hand side, you'll see a little bit of Nyhavn, sort of New Harbor, as it's translated. This picturesque area on the postcards of Copenhagen that you all know, which is, as I said, used to be a place for where sailors, after their long journeys, found a bit of amusement. So used to be a lot of bars and shoe shops and the red light district. Yes, as you've seen, I didn't say please stay seated because this is the bridge that you really don't need to keep an eye on. This is a so-called kissing bridge because it's the only bridge here that is disconnecting and connecting on a horizontal level. Just as kissing, the two parts that are kissing. When they built it for the first time, the parts coming from each of the sides of the canal didn't match. That's why it was called the missing bridge. They had to reconstruct the whole thing, and that's now
sunbathing.
On the left-hand side, I mentioned the microgroup. Here's the paper islands on the Papieröd. So here is where the factories for the papers, for the newspaper, were located. And right now, here are the houses. Some call them Toblerone houses because of the shape. We're in top of one of them, the most expensive apartment in the history of Denmark. Was sold. On the right side, you have drawings, very popular street food markets. In the winter, you have here also an ice skating rink. And in front of us, we have yet another bridge coming. And after this bridge, I am sadly not allowed to talk to you on the microphone anymore. The area where a lot of people live in the houseboats and the boats, and they obviously do not want to hear the same story 20 times in a day. So please remain seated, and after this bridge, I will remain silent. I will, however, come through the boat to ask if you have any questions on it.
Oh. Pwede naman.
stairs into heaven, more than 400 stairs that lead you to the top of the tower. It will be located on the left-hand side. You can see it for a very close moment in front before the bridge, but you can take a lot better photo right after the bridge. So prepare your cameras if you wish. These 400 steps into heaven. So steps into heaven on these churches were not. They were kind of ordinary thing in many churches in Europe, but only here they are outside of the tower, not inside of it, and right here they lead to the other direction. So not the usual to the left, but to the right. So that's why most of them not perhaps the so church where I'm sitting here is the tower. And if you didn't manage to take a photo, you will the most photographed for you.
Oh, there it is. Man, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. You can get it right here off yeah.
Takot ako. Bakit?
Please remain seated. We have yet another bridge coming up in front of us. So please keep seated. And you're right, after this bridge, on the right side, you will see a part of the town that will resemble another European city, perhaps an Amsterdam. The famous bridge in the north who built this part of the city, Copenhagen, wanted it to look like Amsterdam. We visited it, and he liked it very much. Mostly the wealthy merchants of Amsterdam, and he thought that maybe if he builds Copenhagen and Amsterdam, he will lure and attract the merchants of Amsterdam, the wealthy merchants. Didn't work out. They preferred the original Amsterdam, obviously. So for a long time, it was a place for not the wealthiest people in the country. now that I'm allowed to speak again, we have yet another bridge coming in. Here is the, please bind your head and remain seated. This one is a very interesting one. It's the so-called circle bridge by the Icelandic designer Olaf Eliasson, and it should remind you, resemble the ships and the sailboats in Christianshavn. That's why it has these kind of the sailings. And this bridge also opens toward the main canal horizontally. What you see right now on the left-hand side is the blocks, the Danish Architecture Center, and it was voted one of the ugliest buildings in Denmark at one
No.
point. It should resemble a Lego house or kind of a building built of Lego bricks. You know, Lego is a Danish invention. It's an abbreviation for Legot, play good. And to the right of the blocks is the Royal Brewery, built by Christian IV. Again, the beer was the only safe way to drink at some point in Denmark, and an average Dane used to drink 5 liters of beer a day, including with children. However, it was less than 0.5% alcohol, so it was a very safe thing to drink. And built this brewery in order for the Danish Royal Marine to have enough safe drink throughout their tours. What you see right here on the left side is the so-called Black Diamond, and this is the modern expansion of the Royal Library. The old part of the Royal Library is behind this Black Diamond. Why Black Diamond? It was built from the black granite from Zimbabwe. And mostly in summer, at around 11 o'clock, when the sunlight mirrors itself from the water in the harbor, it shines as a black diamond. Here on the right side, you have these office buildings that were built with the metals on the outside that is supposed to corrode into green color. It should remind us of some sustainability issues and ecology. And it's sometime after the stock exchange building that you can see on the first part of our journey burned down. One of these buildings caught fire as well. However, compared to the stock exchange building fire, where the whole nation was in tears, nobody really reacted to this one. That's because in one of these buildings where the fire broke out was the tax office. And on the left side, we will be having this nice yellow boat, which is a harbor bus. The harbor buses operate zigzag through the north of the harbor to the south and reverse as a part of the public transport. I've shown my group already from the Kissen Bridge that we passed around up until the Öresund Sound. There are no bridges from one side of the canal to another. That's why these harbor buses have to operate as part of the public transport so that people can actually get from one side of the harbor to another. They're also yellow, which is unified colors of all the vehicles of the public transport. That can remind you. And for the same tickets as for a bus or a metro, you can ride with buses.
This can open. A few of them don't work. Maybe this is the one that doesn't work. But
Another
otherwise,
thing that you could have seen on the canals here are these little boats for around 9 to 8 people each.
you try.
Operated by several companies. One we'll be having on the left hand side that you can see. And the thing is, you don't need any captain license or anything like that in order to drive these boats. You can do it without any license.
Yun na yung sa atin na.
And it's very
Malaki pa dyan.
easy to operate. The only condition is that yes, you are allowed to have drunk alcohol before. However, you cannot be as drunk or as intoxicated in order not to be able to drive it safely. That's the only condition that you must fulfill in order to drive both here on the harbor.
That's too early. Sorry.
Yes, and I have a little request. We haven't talked about one particular thing, the called Christiania. I've heard that some people will talk about it a little. It's part of the city that is located behind Christian Tower. Christiania lies in the former barracks and army military buildings that were left behind the Danish Royal Marina here in Copenhagen after the marina was relocated to the northern Jutland. And by the end of the 60s, there was, as always, really places in Denmark, and some students, artists, revolutionaries, hippies, let's say, decided why shouldn't we have affordable housing and affordable living where we have these old empty military buildings that are so they do to them, and they've established the most democratic state as possible, where every citizen of Christiania had a say what's happening. And Christiania, it's sort of an artistic kind of place where you have a lot of culture, so people just painting on the streets, playing the guitar on the streets, a lot of concerts, exhibitions, also street food. That's Christiania, sort of artistic neighborhood. There were some problems with sort of drug trade, I guess say. In Denmark are very strict laws against drug distribution and trade. However, there it was sort of overlooked when people were consuming and planting marijuana for their own use. This was misused by some gangs from Africa, which then was followed by several police operations, and this whole drug trade was completely erased from Christiania in the spring of last year. So now it's a very safe neighborhood, and it's going back to its roots, and that is Alfred and its art. On the left side, you can see the playhouse, the Royal Playhouse. This building here, water building, was built by the state, and in Denmark there's some laws that if you're building a building right by the waterfront, you are obliged to build free access of the water to the water. The state itself didn't do it when they were building the Royal Playhouse, so they have to build a platform to see all around the playhouse additionally. Also, as I mentioned to my group, it's a part with the windows, that's where the guard rooms or the changing rooms are located for the exercise. So the designers wanted them to have a very nice view of the whole harbor. They didn't count on it working both ways, so the actors and actresses had to hang the curtains there themselves in a matter of days. On the right side, you have the so-called International Garden. It's one of the newest public parks in Copenhagen, and it's sort of divided into different parts with the plants and flowers from different regions of the world. So you have Southern American part, South American part, Northern American part, Mediterranean part. Here on the right-hand side, you have the Royal Opera, the building of the Royal Opera. You can see three beautiful chandeliers behind the windows. These are also designed by the same artist from Iceland, by the designer Olafur Eliasson, who also designed the Circle Bridge that you've seen before. This building, contrast to the Royal Playhouse, was funded by the Mask Foundation and built
Pinakamaganda.
designed by
Hindi ko pa daw malaman. Maganda pa rin.
Danish architects. By the way, this house over the right side, right here. And where it's under summers as an Airbnb. Your small building you see on the right side is the old water pump. And these two cranes, industrial cranes on the right side, are reminding us of the former purpose of the harbor.
Oh wow, you forgot that.
Yeah.
I can't get that.
National cities of Malmö and Copenhagen basically agree on Malmö will take over the industry in Copenhagen. That's why we also call this cultural harbor.
Okay.
And that's why we also
Metro
have
ganyan.
Oh, grabe. Dalawa, tatlo.
waters in those depths.
Laki dyan.
And it's also why so many people that road up until the scandal when it misfired against the Danish coast and making damage for recreational housing. Heavily damaged. On the right side, you have the corner part of the city where the ship building and ship construction business used to be located. The oldest or the only company that was here operating in the shipbuilding industry used to operate with the rates all on the right side with strict revenue up until 1996 when it went bankrupt. And since then, we used to be a warehouse, we used to do certain events such as the 2014 Eurovision Song Contest, where just this year we got one. In front of this building is the biggest street food market in northern Europe, Copenhagen, where you can find different cuisines from Turkish cuisine, Afghan cuisine, Nepali cuisine, French, Filipino, Korean, etc. Senegal. Really recommended place. And on the right side, you can also see a train. And yes, I mentioned this story to my group. So this is a bungee jumping train. When they first opened it, they had this campaign that whoever comes there to jump without clothing can jump for free. Obviously, we're in Northern Europe, it's not an issue. Most people are swimming without clothing, so they had to close this campaign only after 2 days because there were huge of people without clothing there waiting for the bungee jump. And on the right side, you see a small island with a fortress with red houses and waiting for your ship. And this is called the island called Copenhagen, or Three Crowns, the Three Crowns of the former Calvary Union between Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. It was part of the 3 islands that were part of the fortification system of the city. Right now, this one is operated by a company that also manages the whole harbor. Here on the right side, right now under the construction is the Langendieka or Langendieka Pier. It's yet another harbor you can see also for cruise ships. And when it was built by the end of 19th century, it was also a place where the families in Copenhagen could just have a stroll around on the weekends, exchange some gossip, show off some new fashion. And right now we have also the Little Mermaid waiting for us. So on the western side, you will see her in full beauty from her back.
Where? Yeah.
You probably know the Disney version.
There's the mermaid.
Version of Hans Christian Andersen is a little bit more tragic. So the Little Mermaid fell in love with a prince. She came to the witch who gave her the ability to walk on foot on land, but only with huge pains and bleeding feet, just as the knives were stabbing her feet. And for that, she also had to give the witch her tongue and her beautiful voice. The witch also promised her a soul because the sea folk didn't have souls. For that, she, however, had to win the love of the prince, which did not happen. The prince had married someone else. The mermaid would get some kind of a wind sprite for the daughter of the wind. So, thank you very much for your patience with me, and I wish you a nice stay in Copenhagen and a nice rest of your trip. Please, let's give time on the shore right after
I have to
remain seated until the ship stops moving, and then we will meet divided by the group once again. So once again, thank you very much, and
one podcast.
Oh, may muscles.
Dami.
$37 minutes. No, 40 minutes.